Let's be real. There is a possible shutdown that is imminent. Okay. We are at the precipice of a government shutdown if the Democrats don't cave. There is still a likelihood that the Democrats might cave. Remember, Chuck Schumer, there's always a likelihood that Chuck Schumer will find a way to say, I don't want to fight, Mr. President. I'm so sorry. Thank you for giving money to Israel.
In other countries and $137 in the U.S. And that's coming down now to probably 15 or 18 to 18. I think that's pretty much right, Albert. It's not you, but they'll go up to 18 and we'll come down.
This is on the radical left are going to shut down the government and inflict massive pain on the American people unless they get their $1.5 trillion wish list of demands. The Trump administration wants to keep the government open for the American people. Is the shutdown good or bad? There is no world in which the shutdown is good. Obviously, the shutdown is bad. Now, do I believe that the shutdown will be good for the Democrats? It depends. Okay? The shutdown is obviously a crisis, right? You have a lot of workers that are on furlough and none of the government functions work in the way that they normally do. But is it a necessity in times like this? Is it a weapon wielded by the minority party when the administration is engaging in real time with a crippling of all institutions, sicking the military on the people, and taking away a lot of government-funded healthcare away from regular Americans? Absolutely. So, unfortunately, it must be done, right? This is a weapon that the Democrats have in their arsenal, perhaps the most consequential one, and they should have done it in the past as well. I kept repeatedly saying that they have to do this. They have no other tool, right? For the Democrats, their demands are pretty reasonable, okay? Their demands are pretty reasonable. I think that they could be making even more demands, like, for example, clawing back some of the ICE funding, like demanding that they no longer sic ICE and the American military on the domestic front, and also ensuring that some of the cuts that are going to come for Medicaid do not happen, right? Because the reality of the matter is the big beautiful bill is going to be is going to bring about $800 billion in cuts to Medicaid, right? That's ginormous. That's terrifying for rural hospitals. It's terrifying for Trump's base, ironically enough. And that is one of the demands that the Democrats are making. They want assurances from the Republican Party to not do that. And, of course, the Republicans are literally turning around and lying and saying they have a $1.5 trillion wish list of demands. They want to give everybody transgender. They want to give everybody undocumented migrant. Okay? Because as it stands, in order to avoid a shutdown, to fund the government, they need votes from Democrats. And the Democrats are standing firmly against it. They're saying, we're not going to fund the government unless you listen to some of the reasonable demands we have. Okay? The Republicans, of course, are using this as an opportunity to attack and lie and make shit up, basically, about what the Democrat demands are. They're claiming, as they have done so over and over again, because they've seen this as a very reliable way to galvanize the base, the Democrats are trying to shut the government because they want to give $1.5 trillion to undocumented transgenders. Okay? If you slap transgender and undocumented into your conversation, illegal alien or transgender into your conversation, every Republican seemingly doesn't realize that they're getting robbed blind. Okay? And that's precisely what they're doing. J.D. Vance started doing this already. My fear here is not only is it the appropriate thing for the Democrats to do in order to protect all American citizens right now, because it's the only tool that they have, and make it costly for the administration to continue the shutdown, because, like, at the end of the day, they control everything. They control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. So obviously, when they have full control over the government, like, people are understandably going to look at this shutdown and look at the chaos that ensues and blame the administrative party for it, right? So you create a pressure point against the federal government, and you force them to listen to the reasonable demands that you're making. The problem is this, when you don't have good communicators that are leading the Democratic Party, when the two leaders of the Democrats is Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, you are not going to be able to guide through the treacherous waters of a government shutdown. And that's what I'm actually worried about. I'm worried that they're going to do the right thing and maybe push for a shutdown. And then instead of using that opportunity to talk about all of the things that this administration is doing so far and what your demands are, they are going to get bullied by a faucet of misinformation coming from the Republican side. Okay. And then they'll somehow find a way to fuck this up as well. What do I mean by this? I mean, yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer went and talked to Donald Trump. They came out and said, it seems like it's the first time Trump has actually heard our demands about, how people are going to lose their health care coverage if this goes through, if this big, beautiful bill goes through, all this stuff, right? Donald Trump came out and said, Hakeem Jeffries is Mexican. And Chuck Schumer wants undocumented illegals to get $1.5 trillion in healthcare with an AI video. That was what his response was. It's a fucking clown show. It's a goddamn clown show. And it doesn't even feel like the media is equipped to tackle this kind of idiotic sentiment expressed by the administration. At least in like 2016, there was this overall attitude that like what Trump was doing was not fit for the station. What Trump was doing was completely inappropriate. And Republicans had a sense of shame, even like those who secretly loved Donald Trump still exhibited a sense of shame that this was, not dignified, right? The way that Trump was presenting himself was not dignified. They would always say, oh, just don't listen to what he has to say. But, listen to what he's doing. What he's doing is good, but what he has to say is kind of stupid. I don't really like it or whatever, right? That's gone now. They don't even do that nowadays. And in some ways, like, I kind of understand, because how can you address respectability politics when no one has a sense of respect for the office? Trump has been able to almost single-handedly completely erode the dignity of the office by weaponizing the bully pulpit and changing the culture dramatically around like what the expectation is from the bully pulpit, what the expectation is from supposed to be from the presidency. This is true. He has done that. He's done that successfully. Plus, there is no mechanism that exists as it stands against a faucet of misinformation that Republicans always love to present in times of breaking news or whenever they want to present a new hysteria that they must combat. Like, left violence is one of the greatest examples of this. Over and over again, we look at the data, and the data shows it's like right-wingers are responsible for the overwhelming majority of fucking violent incidents in this country and acts of domestic terror. And yet these guys keep saying, no, it's the left. The left is doing violence. The left is doing violence. The left is doing violence over and over again until people are just like, okay, sure, it's the left, I guess. I'm sorry. Please stop. Yeah, he also, given that Donald Trump's intention is to just like cripple the federal government anyway, he is also saying that he's going to use the shutdown to further slash the government to begin with. But the problem here is that when they did this with Doge, a lot of people reacted negatively to it. So they had to like literally go back and rehire a bunch of these people. It still actually fucked a bunch of things up. But this is simply a threat. Okay? That's all this is. Will he follow through on it? Maybe. But it doesn't matter. We have to fucking keep up the intensity. We have to keep up the pressure to ensure that they go back on this initial assessment where they try to like fire a bunch of federal government employees. So that's another part of the puzzle as well. It's just like they're fucking up everything. There is an asymmetry when you combat right-wingers. Like there is an ease where there's an ease in which you can destroy something. It takes a lot longer and a lot more effort to build certain things as opposed to breaking them, right? is so easy for Republicans to just say, like, we're firing everybody. Who gives a shit? Fuck you. The hardest part for the Republican side is to actually destroy things that are defensible, like Social Security. People like that. So they have to take a long time they take a long time to just like slowly but surely cripple these programs with austerity, and then eventually develop resentment towards those programs. It takes years and years to successfully do this, right? But ironically enough, as the White House correspondent for Independent Andrew Feinberg says, White House is begging hundreds of office managers fired by Elon Musk Doge to come back to work. So like I'm saying, like these guys are stupid enough to follow through on this, but I don't think they realize how devastating this is for the regular federal government to work. They need these people, right? They need these people. They need people that are responsible to continue working at these regulatory agencies. Like if you fire mad people from the FDA, for example, because you're just horny to cripple the federal government, you're going to have the inevitable consequences that are very damaging. Like you're no longer going to have confidence in the meat that you're purchasing at the grocery store. Like you can't have that. Okay, you can't have that. That's chaotic. And maybe in the short term, it looks fine. It feels fine. But the impact of such decisions will harm the public so dramatically that it'll be pure chaos. The expectation that companies are not going to take advantage of the lack of regulatory control and then refuse to actually keep the same standard of quality in their produce is ridiculous. Of course, they're going to be like, all right, the FDA is not checking this shit anymore. Who cares? We can offer substandard safety protocols now. And then eventually the public will start getting sick. This is why early on I said the Democrats should be talking about Doge and talking about the importance of these regulatory agencies at a time when there is already an unprecedented crisis of finding appropriate jobs. These guys are cutting some of the remaining relatively safe middle-class jobs that exist. This was a great opportunity for a Democratic Party, a left flank party, to actually present the dangers of fucking austerity. And they didn't do it. And because they didn't do it for the past 9 months, because they were just quiet about everything, it's quite difficult for them to do it now in the heat of the moment. This is the issue with the crisis that we're facing with bad leadership in the Democratic Party. It is the exact same crisis that we experienced when Brandon was president. If you don't have a decent orator with good rhetoric who can command the attention of the masses and talk about how wonderful the initiatives that they're taking are, then obviously the opposition can bastardize whatever the fuck you're doing, which they did. Or even, in the case of what Donald Trump is doing here, take credit for it. They could take credit for it. Like the insulin price caps. Donald Trump is like, I did that. That's mine. That's my initiative. It's crazy.